standing snow,
Is it edible as well?
yeah. I've never eaten it with salads. I don't think so. In the heat, distracted by frogs.
Yes. I'm easily distracted by birds, frogs.
I like the ones there.
They're beautiful. Golden finch, I think.
You've got the whole tribe here, with all the frogs and hedgehogs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious though to hear you talk about the energy work on land, because we've done a lot of plan, communication, and meeting all your animals. But yeah, thank you for sharing the hearts the other week.
Yeah, so I haven't done so much work on this top bit of the garden yet. I've not been here in this bit for too long, just for a few weeks, and I've been more concerned with doing the practical stuff. But on that side of the garden, I've done a lot of energy work on that side. So I created a crystal grid for equinox. Yeah, equinox in March. And the time of equinox in March this year in England was 3:33 p.m. So at 3:33 p.m. there was a lot of people all over the world that we kind of at the same time or at their time of equinox did some energy work with the rose lines of the earth. So to me the rose lines are kind of the feminine lines, and there's a rose line that comes down from Edinburgh, and I feel that this is like a minor rose line that maybe feeds off or veers off from that rose line. And what I feel some of the work that I'm doing is working with crystalline rose energy in the ground. So when I'm doing light language activations, it creates crystalline roses. So when I was in Glastonbury last year, I was guided to check in the crystal shops to buy some crystalline roses. I actually just had one in mind that was clear quartz. That's what I saw in my mind's eye. But when I went to the crystal shops, the only one that had any had lots of these tiny, tiny crystalline roses.
I think I've seen them. They're like super light pink.
Yeah. And I bought quite a few of them. I bought 3 to start with, then I went back and bought another 12, I think. I think I had 15 in total. And what I've been doing with them is putting them into the ground. So on the other side of the garden we have a blue moon rose, which is going to be put into the ground, which was like the centre point of the crystal grid that I created for the equinox 3:33 thing. And I've put 3 of those roses around each of the rose plants on that side of the garden. And there's 3, I started off by putting 3 where that blue moon rose is going to go.
So you were preparing the land for the roses. So it's quite an intention. So did you know where you put
Not really.
each of them, or were you guided again?
Guided again. And I've been doing energy work on the land for years and years, like ever since I first was attuned to Reiki. I've been doing energy work on the land. And some of the energy work that on the land that I was doing in Australia was related to clearing the energy, particularly massacre energy in the land.
Yeah.
And there's a little story, it's probably not that little. So when I was, one of the areas where I was doing energy work cropped up in a story that I wrote that hasn't been published yet, but I realised that the energy work that I wrote about in the book we actually had to do on this particular patch of land. And I noticed on this patch of land that nothing grew there. There was like a circle of weeds around it that went on, like more and more weeds, but within this kind of circular or maybe oval shape, nothing grew. And that was where the whaling station used to be. And it was also, as I heard from an Aboriginal friend who had told that I was doing the energy work, and he told me that that was a massacre site as well, before the whaling station was on there. So the first part was me gathering all my housemates at the time who perfectly matched characters in the book that did certain things, and there just happened to be the right number of housemates in me. So we did this energy work, and that was what I shared with my friend Lewis. And he told me, I said there's more to do, because it was very layered. So it's like we cleared the top layer, and then deeper energy comes up, and that I feel is what happens when we do energy work on the land. We clear like layers, but we don't always get all the way to the end of it. It's just deeper and deeper stuff comes up, and we clear it, and it comes up. And he said to me that we needed 3 groups of 7 people. And most of the people that I was gathering to do this energy work were the backpackers that were staying at the Arts Factory. It's actually quite difficult to gather backpackers. They're quite free-flowing.
Of course.
Doing their own thing. So I was trying to gather 21 people, and it just wasn't working. So I just had to let go of that idea that Lewis had said and just see what happened. And as it happens, there were exactly 21 people that turned up on that day.
Wow.
14 women, 7 men. And so we gathered in 3 circles of 7, and we did energy work. And then Lewis came and he played didge over the land. Didgeridoo, yidaki as it's traditionally known as, is an amazing instrument for clearing energy, that deep bass energy, and it contains all the elements, and it's very connected to the motherland, to the land. So he played didge, and then there was a young child who I think was about 3 years old at the time, and as soon as Lewis had finished playing, he just ran across the land. And he was an Aboriginal boy, and it just seemed absolutely perfect. And the other thing was that all the people that were there clearing the land were from overseas, and it was people from overseas that had caused the damage in the land. So it just seemed really perfect, like a full circle. Yeah, that happened. And then the young Aboriginal boy just ran across the land. It wasn't planned.
Perfect sign that you've cleared some energy if the child goes there, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know what drew my attention when you were talking about your experiences? The fact that you go on land when there's been trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night I had that traumatic dream about war on this land. So I wonder, are you aware, or could you tell us a little bit more maybe about this land and the history of it, if you know? I know it's been a lot going on here, actually. Yeah, so this town where I live has been inhabited for at least 9,000 years. It's, as far as I'm aware, it's got the oldest records of habitation here on this land. Recent history, it was farmland, but I know that this general area, there would have been some conflict here between, I think, the Vikings, and I just got distracted by a wren. As you would.
Yeah.
It's very interactive here with the frog gallery.
I know, and there's the wren just going to jump into the pond, I think, too.
Listening. Yesterday was the elements, today is...
Yeah.
All sorts.
So there's an area not too far away where I think there was some conflict happened between Vikings and Romans. The Romans never actually were able to establish a stronghold here in this area, because I think that the local people were too much for them. And they weren't actually able to establish this as it was a Norman land, and I think it stayed as Norman land, and the Romans weren't here. So I imagine that there was something that happened here. These days I focus more on working with the crystalline energies, and I feel in the process of that it helps to clear the land. In Australia I was working a lot, as I say, clearing the land. That was what I was called to do. But it hasn't been too much since I've been here. So I tend not to tune in and look for battle energy, but I feel in the process of the work that I do in bringing in the rose energy, it automatically clears some of the stuff that's happened.
Yeah, I love these synchronicities, like you do things without planning, as if your subconscious is like driving you to locations. And I remember our trip to Scotland and the Rosalind Chapel, and then like a group of us coming to visit you and working together. It was super magical, really potent energies. And then no one knew, like we were just like, okay, coming to visit you.
Yeah. What drew my attention when I was going to move here, the house across the road is called Rosalind House. It's got that written on the window above the house. Like, it's not an ancient house, but it'll be probably a couple of 100 years old, or at least 100 years old. And that just felt like the universe was getting my attention with that, to say, actually, Denise, there's a rose line that goes right through your house. Now, that way, there is a mound, a man-made mound. It's kind of lined up, it's kind of in that direction, so I feel the line moves to that mound, and then from there the mound is connected to the castle in Pickering.
Okay.
And I tend to be put, all the places that I lived in Australia, there was work to do. It was like, to me, you get a portal or a vortex created when more than one line cross. So that creates like a big energy spot. And everywhere that I lived in Australia, and I lived in 13 different places in 12 years, and every place that I lived, there was energy work to do there, to kind of like clear the space and just bring this crystalline energy in and work with the crystalline grids. So that's like the new earth templates, that's the new energy of the earth.
It's amazing as well. It feels like we've got assistants working on those new energies. Like yesterday, watching the insects doing like something very similar, like the bumblebees doing the infinity sign, and we've spotted some vortex in the grass.
Yeah.
Or was it more energetic sensation of it going deep into the earth?
Yeah, I feel that, and just on the other side, I've done some videos of this, so I can share those with you. Hello, pigeon. Just on the other side of the fence there, I start to see, and I'm never quite sure, am I seeing this? Is it just energy that I'm seeing, or is there actually something almost being mapped out and traced in the land?
I really know what you're talking about. I think I got a sample of it yesterday when we were just looking for the hearts in the grass, and I suddenly felt like a heart is being drawn, like energetically, but it had like clearly defined lines.
Yeah. And I'm seeing that over on the other side of the garden sometimes. And interestingly, that was why I called you up here to video it. And we've not really been able to see those because it's got a little overgrown with the poppies. Not been able to see those hearts. But the 3 heart symbol is very significant to me. My tattoo has the triple heart in it. There's
interesting.
Yeah, there's something that I do, and over on that piece of land, so where the pine tree is, I could see a heart that went to where the rose is going to go. From the rose, I could see at least one more heart that went, and then another one that went further back. But interestingly, I'm not able to see those right now, so I maybe can't film them.
I think we'll find out a method to film that. But I'm now curious. I want to see your tattoo. because yesterday those hearts started to overlap, so there was like one big drone, and then another one started to emerge, and it was like on top of it.
Yeah.
Is it what your little has? Do they overlap in parts, or they are like separate 3 hearts?
There's two of them might overlap. 2 of them are butterfly wings, and one of them is a heart that goes around them. And there's something that I do that dropped in a long time ago in the first house that I lived in Byron Bay, which was a way to kind of bring your hands together. I usually do this standing up, you can't quite do it sitting down, but you bring a heart to here. So you start here, bring your hands up as high as you can, bring your hands down. Oh, sorry. Overlapping. Oh,
Yeah,
stuck with it.
exactly.
Yeah. When you're standing up,
Uh-huh.
it brings your hands exactly to here. And that connects you with Gaia. So you bring Gaia's energy up through all of your chakras, or energy centers as I prefer to call them now, all the way up to the top. And then another heart from the top that goes to your heart. And then from here, I connect with the heart of the sun. And I was guided to go straight from here, missing out the throat, but going straight from the heart to here, which now I realise is linked to heart and brain coherence. And then from here, you open up your hands above you like a vessel. And that to me is connecting with source energy and opening up your crown to bring source energy in. So you've got Gaia energy moving up from below, up all the way to the top. And then source energy, bring your hands together, bring that down, all the way down to here. And then the third heart is from here, you just go like this and create the third heart around you. And that to me is just a way to really ground energy, to connect to earth, to connect to your own heart first.
I found it so soothing.
Yeah, to go from there to there.
Yeah, mind alignment very much needed. But this feels lovely as well. Just feel like in a lovely bubble.
Yeah. So the triple heart has been with me. I think that was 2006 when I moved into that house. Yeah, it was the end of 2006 that dropped in. So the triple heart has been really significant to me. It's also like there's a sorrel plant that's got that triple heart here that tastes amazing.
No sorrow.
Yeah, tastes incredible.
This is really intriguing. I've just remembered about your crystals, and like when you put them in the ground, do you think the formation of hearts is related to that in any way?
Possibly. But the Trinity, the Trinity, the idea of the Trinity is just really key at the moment. And I feel as we're moving into unity as one, the first step for that is to balance our masculine and feminine energies, and then you get the golden child. So that to me is what why am I doing this? That to me is what the Trinity energy is.
I'm getting shivers, honestly. I feel like my visit here, I feel so welcome by you and the land, and like I received some information the first night about clearing the land, but the balancing of divine masculine and feminine has come through from last night to today, and now you're talking about it.
Interesting.
Beautiful.
And so
work,
and the hearts that I was seeing over there, like I'd stand and go, I can see a heart there, and it's the way the grass grows, it's the way the grass is coloured, but you can actually see these lines in the earth. But then I'd stand over here and be like, but I can see one this way, but I can see one that way, and it just seems like there's multiple levels, multiple layered hearts just appearing everywhere. And also octahedrons, like diamond shapes too. And that is linked to the diamond heart. There was something that I watched today, and I think the man's name is Robert Edward Grant. He's done a series on Gaia called Codex. He's a scientist, he's a spiritually inclined, awakened scientist. And he was talking about meeting the Dalai Lama. And when the Dalai Lama is cremated, they look in the ashes for these stones. And I can't remember the name of these stones, but the Dalai Lama has all these stones, and it's when you become so much in your heart space, so much kind of spiritually enlightened, that your heart grows these crystals. And when you're cremated, the crystals remain in the ground. That's
so
the
cool.
video that I just sent to you. It's a podcast with...
But it's aligned with this idea of crystalline body, yeah?
Yeah.
And organs.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have all the crystals of the previous lamas that they find.
Incredible.
I only heard that today. That was this morning when I was... Yeah. When I was doing my fascia stretches, I thought I'll watch the end of that interview, and there it was.
I just remembered, I've seen crystalline heart. I've been seeing it for the past maybe month in the healing sessions. Like a human heart, there's building up, the crystal within with its core.
Yeah.
And it's intensifying and growing bigger. It's covered by this kind of layer of fascia, muscle, like even like a fat tissue, but there's a growing crystal within, and I keep getting that image. Links with that. It's beautiful.
It's even softer.
I've got a few fluffy ones around in the garden, and I'm like, I can't stop myself, sorry. Look at her! Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? You see, I got too excited, dropped my camera. Just for you. Got everything in this garden. Did you get visitor foxes as well?
No. Well, I'm sure they are, but I haven't seen them.
Sweetheart.
The smell is just... I think the smell only comes out at night.
Yeah, and you just get waves of smell, yeah? Like with the roses, you feel like there's no smell, and suddenly just that sweetness.
That little blue treasure in there. Oh, it's cornflower.
This is the cornflower.
Yeah.
So my garden is full of these, like your poppies.
So this is called Blue Moon. It's the nearest thing to a blue rose I think you can get. There aren't on this planet as yet blue roses as this in a raffle.
Really?
Yeah, lemon geranium.
Ear infection.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really perfect for that.
oh, interesting. So it doesn't do well having its roots frozen, so I was going to plant it and then I decided not to. I decided just to bring it outside, and then when it's cold I'll take it back inside again.
Oh my goodness, that's so cute.
In case you're wondering why they're out and it's light, it's actually very late. There's one there. This one is here. Just came up and nosed my foot. I think I scared it because it made me jump. Oh, sorry.